welcome back to another video on my channel. Today is National Independent Bookstore Day. Woohoo! What does that mean? That means that Chicago's putting on its indie bookstore crawl. Yes, and I'm going to vlog it. Yes. If you are unfamiliar with what that is, there's a bunch of participating independent bookstores, like a ton here in the city, and they are all putting together this program where if you come in today and get a stamp on like your little passport, you can potentially get a discount for the rest of the entire year. So basically what you do is you get your passport at your first store, they give you a first stamp, and if you can hit 10 stores one day, you get 10% off. If you can hit 15 stores one day, you get 15% off. And a lot of times the bookstores will have fun things going on or special sales going on in addition to this like little not scavenger hunt, but you know what I mean, little like rally thing. So I'm going to be doing that. I normally go with my husband every year, but he's busy this time, so I'm going with a friend, and I'll try my best to vlog everything. I normally have a routine for what stores I go to, but since I'm going with my friend, I am a little bit more spontaneous because we're meeting someplace halfway first instead of just going to the stores that are closer to me. So yes, this is an exercise in flexibility and spontaneity because I'm not good at either of those things. But I'm going to do my best. I'm going to try to record the inside of the store and show you which books I decided to pick up today. Originally, I wanted to do one book per store, but I'm not sure I'll be able to do that financially, but we'll see. I have some books in mind that I want to pick up. I have some recommendations I still haven't read from friends in the past, so I'm hoping I can pick those up. But other than that, I'm kind of going into things blind. So if you're interested in watching me shop today, just keep on watching. Hi there, this is Cassidy from the future speaking. I just wanted to interject in this video really quick to explain something that I don't think I explicitly said in this video, but I'm going to do it anyway. So initially, my friend and I had decided to go to a bunch of bookstores on the north side of Chicago. I live on the north side of Chicago. We decided to meet halfway at Bucket of Blood, and then we were going to go to places around that area, and then eventually like go northeast because a lot of the stores that were participating in this event happened to congregate around the Brown Line, or they were part of different northern neighborhoods altogether. That didn't end up happening. What ended up happening is that we changed our minds and we headed downtown and we visited stores downtown instead, even though they were like a little bit more sparse than the ones on the north side. Unfortunately, there was a horrible situation that took place in my own backyard that we were finding out about in real time while we were eating lunch. We had stopped to get just a quick thing at like a fast food restaurant, and while we were there, we saw I'm not even exaggerating. 30 cop cars go whizzing by and a couple of SWAT vehicles as well. And obviously, we were really concerned and perturbed by the sheer amount of police presence in the area. And so my friend, she pulled up her Citizens app and to try to find out what was going on. And it turns out that there was a man in the area who was at the local hospital with a gun. The hospital that was affected is the hospital that I tend to frequent for various appointments myself. It's a hospital that I can walk to from my house, and it scared me because I know a lot of the not just my providers, but there's people who I know that work there, and I was thinking about them. And that hospital has a birthing unit in it, and there's also ER attached to it, and I assume that's where this person was. But I'll just give you guys the rundown of what happened. So the person was initially arrested for an attempted robbery at a dollar store that, again, is even closer to my house than the hospital is, literally right in my backyard. So they basically were trying to rob this dollar store. They assaulted the cashier and tried to take her purse too, unfortunately. They caught one person. I think the other person fled, but they caught the one person, but he showed signs of injury or medical issues, so they rushed him to the hospital, right? And while he was there, he managed to steal the police officer's gun, wanted to flee, I assume because he didn't want to be caught. And he fled the hospital. He ran into a nearby apartment building. He had a hostage at one point, and at some point in time, I don't know if his hospital gown flew off or whatever, but he was naked. And they had so many police officers on scene. Two of them were shot, one of them died, and the other one had critical injuries. And like this ordeal, I think started because we were eating at 11:30. I think this whole ordeal started then, and then I ended up checking the because I'm part of the local Facebook groups in the area, and I ended up checking, and I don't think it got resolved until like 2 or 3. So this whole thing was going on for a significant amount of hours, and it was really jarring to me because, like, yeah, it's Chicago, there's crime here. And yeah, there's been crime in my neighborhood before, for sure. But just like the scale of police response was very intimidating, and the fact that this like incident was very, very exacerbated and took place in my ecosystem kind of freaked me out a bit. Obviously my friend was freaked out by the police presence as well, because you never know if police will help or hinder a situation sometimes, unfortunately. So we decided to like go in another part of the city altogether and just stay around there. And I'm glad we did. We basically were out until about 4:30. So this would have been going on the entire time had we chose to stick to our original route. And I remember like having other groups of people around and me deciding to go up to them and warn them about what's going on. I don't know if they were tourists, but they were acting or speaking in a way that they weren't familiar with the area. So I just went up to some folks and explained like, "Hey, I'm from here. I live here." Because it was just like a bunch of white ladies with tote bags and not a clue, truthfully. So I was like, "Hey, I'm from here. This is what's going on right now. We're looking at it through the phone because like it was being live streamed on the Citizens app, and I think like 30,000 people were watching, and it was pretty unnerving. And I was like, I love this area. I love these bookstores a lot. But you might want to circle back later and do them at the end because this is what's going on right now. And I'm glad I did, but part of me felt kind of gaslit because I was like, okay, like everybody else is just like la 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 with their little paper maps or their phones in their tote bags, and meanwhile my friend and I are like clearly the only people freaking out. And I was like, why aren't other people unnerved by the fact that there was like SWAT vehicles going by? I do not know. Why are you not curious about that? I don't know. But anyway, I say all this to say that I'm sure the bookstores in the area that were really affected by this because, I assume other people tried to like avoid the area in general. I mean, according to the Facebook groups I saw, there was a lot of people who lived, if their houses were more close by, they were advised to stay inside. Like the police were marking off the area, people weren't allowed to leave their homes. So
I just wanted to shout out a couple of bookstores that I know of that are in the general area, just in case their businesses or their sales were affected by this. First of all, Restored is the one closest to me. It's a great bookstore. It's newer in the neighborhood. Justin, owns and runs it himself. This is a family business, and they do great community engaging activities. So please check out Restored. The ones that I also assume would be affected would be Time and a Half Books. They're relatively close. They're off the Damon stop. The Bookseller as well, off the Western perhaps, and a newer bookstore that's just south of the Bookseller. May or may not have been, I don't know. But Partners in Crime is also a newer bookstore that specializes in romance and thrillers. They might have been out of the range for that, but those are just ones off the top of my head that I knew that are close by. If there's one I'm forgetting about, please let me know in the comments down below if you're also a North Sider. But yeah, I just wanted to interject this part of the video here just to like let people know what happened, because there's some, like, I met with people the next day for dinner and I was talking to them about it, and they live in South Loop and they had no idea what was going on. But like, yeah, they had no idea what was going on, but my friend and I, like, it felt like we couldn't escape it, because even when we Ubered to the other part of the city, it was on the radio, and I had emotions about it. Even the next day I like woke up sick, and I think it was from all the stress of that, you know. But yeah, I'm just saddened by what happened. I'm sure it was traumatizing for so many people, and I feel some kind of way about it still slightly, you know. So I just wanted to put this in the video to give context about, one, why we switched up our route, and two, you know, highlighting some other bookstores that might have been affected that maybe you guys could go check out in the future if you want to kind of help them make up for what could have been a potential loss. So yeah, thanks for listening to me yap. I am going to show more footage, and then I'm going to show you my haul in a minute. Hi there. Okay, so now we've reached the end of the video where I get to talk about all the fun stuff that I bought on Independent Bookstore Day during the Independent Bookstore Day crawl. If you're in Chicago and you haven't done this before, I highly, highly recommend it. Just in case you didn't know, when you do this crawl, you hop from bookstore to bookstore and you collect stamps. Let me show you the stamps that we ended up getting. Pigeon themed booklet. So these are the places we stopped. We hit 10 bookstores, so now my friend and I have 10% off for the rest of the year at all 81 participating bookstores. So even if you go to 10, you get the discount for all 81. If you hit 15, you get 15% off. I did this last year. I only did 10. I did this year. Only did 10. There's some people who do 15. I don't know how they do that. They are truly warriors amongst men. But maybe next year, who knows? So after we did this, we received this little card, like a little coupon card. But even if you lose it, they have your email, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, this is to show that you did it. 10 store champ. And we also got this little sticker that I'll probably end up putting on my laptop because it's cute. Look at this little pigeon guy. I kind of love it. So I'm going to put that on my laptop later. But yes, let's get into the books that I got. Here's the stack. Isn't it lovely? Okay, so I got 8 books. I visited 10 stores. There's a couple stores that I didn't get things from. One of them was last chapter. It's a romance bookstore. I'm not a romance reader, so I didn't really see anything that really tickled my fancy there. I'll read a very specific, like cozy fantasy romances or sapphic romances or just like gay things. But I just didn't see a whole lot in there, and it was pretty busy, so I didn't get anything in there. And the other one I didn't buy from was Exile Books downtown. No shade, anything like that. It was just too crowded of space for me, and it was a very small space with a lot of angles. It was kind of like shaped like a 3 almost, and there's just a lot of people there. And I have a thing about crowds. I am not a crowd person. It gives me anxiety. I don't like the idea of people being close enough to me where they can touch me. I didn't enjoy this pre-pandemic, but post-pandemic it's even worse. So I just got my stamp and got out of there and sat in the hallway while my friend shopped around. Yeah, no, I was just not comfortable there. It wasn't necessarily anything about the bookstore. It was just the lack of space. And also, like, I assume you guys know by now, if you've seen pictures of me or if you've seen videos of me or whatever, that I am not a skinny queen. I used to be a smaller girl in my youth, and now that I'm older, I've put on quite a bit of weight. But I'm a mid-sized person. I'm a very curvy person. So sometimes, like, existing in a bigger body, you're a little bit more conscious of how much space you take up, or like when people are closer to you. I also had a backpack on and a purse and a tote, so I'm already taking up a lot of space. So it's just something that's on my brain with that too. Outside of my own personal phobia, it's just something like socially I think about. So crowds and I don't get along. But so those are the 2 stores I didn't get things from, I think. So I just wanted to show you some finds that I did, or what I decided to pick up. So this is a popular book I think I've seen online. I Who Have Never Known Man by Jacqueline Hartman. And I believe this is originally written in the 90s. I'm not sure. But I've seen this floating around in maybe the Pinterest sphere, Pinterest internet sphere, and I decided to pick it up. I've been reading a lot of books about like female friendships lately. I've read Hooked, and now I'm finishing up Butter, written by the same author. They're Japanese translations, and they are critical of female friendships. And I felt like this felt kind of in line with that. I'm just going to read you the back real quick. Deep underground, 39 women live imprisoned in a cage. Watched over by guards, the women have no memory of how they got there, no notion of time, and only a vague recollection of their lives before. As the burn of electric lights merges day into night and numberless years pass, a young girl, the 40th prisoner, sits alone and outcast in the corner. Soon she will show herself to be the key to the others' escape and survival in the strange world that awaits them above ground. Okay, so I also got this one. This was my first pickup read. I got this at Bucket of Blood, which is the first store we picked out, and Bucket of Blood is more like punk vibes, but they also have a big collection of horror that I probably could have picked more up, truthfully, because I saw some other titles that I like that I didn't see other places. So I'll have to go back to Bucket of Blood. But they have fantasy, sci-fi, horror, and they're more punk adjacent. You can buy records and stuff there too. But I got this book, Cuckoo. Did I say that? Cuckoo? I don't know why I can't say words today. But I read Manhunt by the same author, and I loved Manhunt. It was so good. My friend Danny recommended this to me more than a year ago, and I haven't picked it up yet, and I feel like a fake ass friend. So, so yeah, I'm gonna read it finally. I picked this up, but let me again read you a little back cover information for you. Something evil is buried deep in the desert. It wants your body, it wears your skin. In the summer of 1995, 7 queer kids abandoned by their parents at a remote conversion camp came face to face with it. They survived, but at camp resolution, everybody leaves a different person. 16 years later, only the scattered and broken survivors of that terrible summer can put an end to the horror before it's too late. The fate of the world depends on it. So, yeah, I heard great things about this book. It reminds me of Camp Damascus, or at least in the description, which is another book that I really want to read by Chuck Tingle. So I'm going to read this. This author does a lot of body horror, and I'm just going to warn you, Manhunt, I think, can be teetering on a more extreme edge of body horror if you're not like into that scene, if you just normally read like paranormal spooky ooky stuff. So be prepared if you want to read these books that this is more body horror focused, and that might not be everybody's jam, but it, because for me, I can't do it consistently. I need breaks in between. So this is going to be my hardcore read in my TBR pile. Okay, I also picked up some nonfiction books, and I will show you one of them right now. So I got Humans, A Monstrous History by Sharika Davies. Check this out. So this is nonfiction. I'm just going to read the back for you really quick. Monsters are central to how we think about the human condition. Join award-winning historian of science, Dr. Sharika Davies, as she reveals how people have defined the human in relation to everything from apes to zombies, and how they invented race, gender, and nations along the way. With rich, evocative storytelling that brings together ancient gods and generative AI, Frankenstein's monster, and E.T., Humans A Monstrous History shows how monster making is about control. It defines who gets to count as normal. In an age wherein corporations increasingly see people as obstacles to profits, this book traces the long, volatile history of monster making and charts a better path for the future. The result is profound, effervescent, empowering retelling of the history of the world for anyone who wants to reverse rising inequality and polarization. This is not a history of monsters, but a history through monsters. So yeah, I'm very excited about this read. It is reflective of some of the stuff I've talked on this channel before about monsters as symbols or monsters as metaphor. With a lot of the reads that I pick up, or like a lot of the stories that I tend to write as myself. So yeah, I love this. So I'm very excited about this nonfiction pick. It's been a while since I've read nonfiction, but I'm eager to get started with this one. Okay, my second nonfiction book I just want to show off real quick is this one. I got this one at I think it's called Open Books. It's a nonprofit store, and everything there is so reasonably priced because I think most of it is used books. They accept donations there while you're there, and I've never been there before, but it was a huge space. So I definitely want to go back with my husband next time because I think he would enjoy it too. And they had books on literally everything there, so it was definitely fun to be around there. But let me just read this for you. This is Extreme Online, the untold story of fame, influence, and power on the internet, which also relates back to my master's thesis back in the day, back in good old 2020, when I was talking about the influence of social media on international politics and how Twitter beefs can trickle into real life scenarios. Call me Nostradamus because that was pre anybody talking about like the use of the internet to help Trump get elected essentially. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to read the back of this for you. Acclaimed technology reporter Taylor Lorenz presents a groundbreaking social history of the internet, revealing how online influence and the creators who amass it have reshaped our world online and off. So yeah, I'm excited about this. I don't know how political it's going to get or if it's just about internet stuff in general, but either way, I'm very excited for this read too. I'm a sucker for anything that is reflective about digital culture. So, yeah, this is another nonfiction book I'm excited about. I've been telling you that I've been reading a lot of Japanese translations lately. One of my goals for this year in terms of reading is to read more international translations. I've been picking up a lot of Japanese books lately, but I really want to explore other countries as well. So if you have some recommendations, please leave them down in the comments below. But I picked up Strange Pictures. I've seen these covers going around online, and I'm very curious about them just because of kind of like the culture of the author of with these. And how they kind of feel like creepypastas within themselves. If you don't know, I'm fascinated by, again, internet culture, but some of my own short stories are kind of inspired by creepypastas, or my goal is to give that kind of vibe of just like indie horror storytelling in general, or folklore creation. So yeah, I'm really interested about this book, what I can read to you in terms of the inside cover. A pregnant woman sketches on a seemingly innocuous blog can conceal a chilling warning. A child's picture of his home contains a dark secret message. A sketch made by a murder victim in his final moments leads an amateur sleuth down a rabbit hole that will reveal a horrifying reality. Structured around 9 childlike drawings, each one holding a disturbing clue, this novel invites readers to piece together the harrowing truth behind each and the overarching backstory that connects them all. Strange Pictures is the best-selling international debut from mystery horror YouTube sensation Uketsu, and Jesus Christ, an enigmatic masked figure who has become one of Japan's most talked about contemporary authors. So yeah, there's 3 works. This is the debut one, so this is the one I started with, but the one I'm most familiar with that I've seen has a peach cover, and I think it's architecture based. I think it's Strange Houses or something like that. I'll put it on screen. There's also a purple book I remember seeing, but instead of getting all of them, I just got the first one to see if I would like it, and if I like this one, I'll get the other ones as well. More discounted fiction. So this one's also from Open Books. Again, I've seen the cover before online, but I didn't really check out what it's about, but the premise seems interesting to me. So this is more of I have like 3 books that are kind of tied into like potential eldritch beings slash folk gods. I must be on a kick about that, which I'm not mad at. I love me some good eldritch horror, and again, my own stuff. I've had some short stories where I reinterpret the idea of eldritch horror in a little bit of more of a kooky way. um, but yeah, so let me just read you the premise of this one. Goddess, count to 5 in the morning. Who's alive? In the course of a single winter's night, 4 people vanished without a trace across a small town. Nora's estranged best friend, Becca, is one of the lost. As Nora tries to untangle the truth of Becca's disappearance, she discovers a darkness in her town's past, as well as a string of coded messages. A string of coded messages Becca left for her to unravel. These clues lead Nora to a piece of local lore, a legendary goddess of forgotten origins who played a role in Nora and Becca's own childhood games. An arresting crossover horror fantasy threaded with dark magic, The Bad Ones is a poison pen love letter to semi-toxic best friendship, the occult power of childhood play, and artistic creation, and the razor-thin line between make-believe and belief. So yeah, more like female friendship things, potential folk goddess magic things, maybe eldritch horror, who knows? But yeah, this is another one I picked up. In the same vein, I got this at the same bookstore or something similar. I found I Feed Her to the Beast, and the Beast is Me by Jameson Shea. Look at this cover. I'm so excited about this. I saw this right at the front of the store, and I was like, yoink. This is gorgeous. And then the premise is super interesting too. So I'm gonna read you the inside yet again. Soon I'd be a name no one forget, a raging fire they couldn't escape. Laura has always danced in the cutthroat world of ballet at a disadvantage. Tired of being overlooked, she ventures deep into the Paris catacombs where she finds a pulsing blood river that offers her everything she dreamed of and worked toward, power and awe. With it, she takes her place above her peers, but soon she cannot distinguish her own lust for more with the primordial presence in her veins. Laura quickly learns that she's not the only monster around, and her vicious desires put a target on her back. As she descends into godhood and the mystifying underworld below, she is faced with the ultimate choice: continue to break herself for a world that doesn't love her back, or succumb to the darkness that wants her exactly as she is, monstrous heart and all. That is, if the god killer doesn't catch her first. So yes, a very interesting premise. And the person who wrote this, I think, is also a dancer and has. I'm just looking at their rap sheet right now, and they have a connection to dance as well. So yeah, I'm very excited about this. This looks like a lot of fun. Again, Paris catacombs fascinate me. Again, I'm not as knowledgeable about them, but the vibes I really like. And I don't know, I love blood contracts. Like, come on now. So I'm excited about that one. And then my last one I picked up was at Roscoe Books. So the last one's from Roscoe Books. But yeah, here is Invasive Species. I got this from Roscoe Books. And again, I had a preconceived list of books that I kind of thought about buying before I left. And Cuckoo was on that list, but all these other ones weren't. These were all impulse buys. So hopefully I still feel very positively about them from first glance. But like I really like this cover. It's giving me Cthulhu vibes. And I thought the idea of this book seemed kind of funny. So let me read you the inside. Okay. The women in Cold Harbor all have something to prove, and they'll have to do it in a world full of monsters. Something's not right in Cold Harbor, more so than usual. While the sleepy small town has seen its fair share of monsters and cheating husbands and leering bosses, none are as hungry as Mrs. Smith. The mysterious resident has finally emerged from her crumbling mansion on a hill, mesmerizing the townspeople with her beauty. Her secret: 9 human sacrifices to feed her immortality. Natalie Scott is more worried about Mrs. Smith blocking her first real estate sale, the one that will take her from stay-at-home mom to working woman extraordinaire. She's eager to prove herself in a world where the social mores of 1980s suburbia reign, where she's expected to keep a magazine-perfect home and raise beautiful children, all while sticking to her husband's budget. Natalie's 2 best friends are facing their own demons, and Mrs. Smith and her deep, dark woods are an easy scapegoat for everybody's problems. But Natalie's 12-year-old daughter, Jill, and her Icelandic housekeeper, Una, can sense something deeper at play. Armed with library books and a whole lot of grit, Jill and Una team up to save the town once and for all. But as the rest of the Cold Harbor sinks into anger, fear, and jealousy, they'll have to confront the question, what does it really mean to be a monster? I feel like that question keeps popping up in a lot of the books I read. But yeah, I don't know. I like the small town pettiness kind of taking the forefront instead of the literal monsters in the story, which I think is funny. So I'll see if this is still good. When you buy things on a whim, sometimes it's like a risk, but in this case I've been especially risky. But yeah, I'm excited about all these reads. Hopefully you're excited about them too. I think they're really interesting. So yeah, let me just kind of put the stack back together real quick. So here we are. I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I know my vlogs aren't the most popular things, but I still wanted to do this one because it's such a good event and I really want to share it. It's such a good event and I really want to share it with the masses. Like, if you're in Chicago, show out, please. This is a great day for small businesses and small bookstores in general. Even when I was shopping around with my friend and and we were just farting around with bookstores, sometimes we'd pop into other small businesses like a thrift store where I don't know if you've seen this, guys, but I don't have it with me. I'll put a picture on screen because it's in my office. But when we were in a thrift store, I found a near perfectly preserved 1999 Snowball Furby, and I was so jazzed. It has the tags on it and everything. I got it for $30. And if you don't know, in my book Cursed Images: Scary Stories from a Childhood of the Internet, there's one story in there that's about an Eldritch horror Furby, and the Furbies have kind of become an unofficial mascot for that book. And some people associate me with Furbies in general now because of that, and I am mad at it. So when I saw the exact Furby that I wrote about, I was like, "Fuck, I gotta get this." So now that Furby that I lovingly call Snowball will be with me at every other future book event. So keep an eye out for Snowball. But I was so jazzed about that. So not only does this event help like bookstores, but it also helps the small businesses in the area because there's just so much foot traffic, and living in a big city like Chicago, it's important to really love the parts of Chicago that make it great, which is the ingenuity and entrepreneurial spirit of creative folks here in the city. And I don't know, I just love that kind of stuff. So yeah, thank you for watching this video. Thank you for watching my haul. If you liked it, please like the video. You can also leave a comment down below. In general, if you have something to say about anything I said, you can share this video with a friend. You could share this video with a friend, or you could subscribe to my channel, please, please, please. That would help me out a lot. I also have memberships in case people are interested in financially supporting me that way. Again, I have promised more writing live streams on there, which I will end up doing now that I have officially started a new project. And it looks like this project's going to be pretty time consuming. So we might have writing sessions here and there. If you want to hop on the live stream and write with me, you are more than welcome to do so. But yeah, until next time, thanks. Bye.